All right, tuchambue magazetini humu nchini. We start off with the People Daily. Shame as TSC cedes teachers hiring to Ruto and MPs. The politicians hawk appointment letters for up to 200,000 Kenyan shillings. That is according to this newspaper. And they say the Teachers Service Commission has found itself at the center of a controversy following claims of State House and politicians controlling recruitment of teachers across the country. And at the center of the controversy is a recent trend where members of parliament and governors visiting President William Ruto at State House issued TSC recruitment letters for onward distribution to their supporters, raising concerns about the fairness and transparency of the process, though not verified, allegedly.
But one of the MPs actually said it. The woman representative for Murang'a County, anamuita Betty A. Sawa. Alisema ni ukweli, when you go to State House, actually each MP, yes, is given about 20 letters. So she said there were 11 MPs at State House and each got 20 letters. So those are 220 letters dished out from State House. Alafu wanaenda wanapatia wale watu wanapenda. So kama MP wako hajaenda State House, wewe hautapata kazi.
Yes.
Can you imagine that skewed way? Yet TSC is there and it's supposed to be the employer.
And wanasema more than 20,000 teachers have been recruited across the country since October last year. No merit.
Well, questions arise. Tutakuwa na one of the walimu, most famous teachers hapa studio, Wilson Sosion, also a unionist. Atuambie kama kweli hii ni haki.
All right, how fraudsters collude with bank staff to swindle retirees. They say the most common type of spoofing is done through emails that are hard to detect, detectives said. And the telltale signs of spoofing email include incorrect grammar, poor spelling, badly written sentences or phrases, and are incorrect URL. Wanasema kwamba fraudsters are colluding with rogue bank staff to swindle retirees of their lump sum pension. As soon as it's deposited in the bank accounts, detectives have warned.
Interesting.
Wacha watu wakule pension kwa amani. Muturi, why I was fired. Amesema he wasn't fired because he was incompetent, as the president said, but because of his remarks on the abduction saga. On the top three, President promises Munya Linturi state jobs. That story is on page 8 of this newspaper.
Yes. Auma akipuliza, sio auma.
Auma.
Auma. Auma, angesema anauma akipuliza. Rais William Ruto aonekana kuwa mwangalifu zaidi kwa namna anavyoshughulikia eneo la Mlima Kenya katika serikali yake, huku akiwafuta kazi baadhi ya viongozi na kuwateua wengine kutoka eneo hilo. Habari kamili kwenye ukurasa wa pili. Anasema katika hatua za kimkakati inayolenga kudumisha uungwaji, rais afuta na kuteua maafisa kutoka mlimani. Baadhi ya hao ni kama naibu wa rais, aliyekuwa naibu wa rais Rigathi Gachagua, mlimani. Akaweka mwingine Kithure Kindiki, mlimani. Wizara ya utumishi wa umma alimtoa Justin Muturi akamweka Geoffrey Kiringa Ruku. Wizara ya kilimo alitoa Andrew Karanja akamweka Mutahi Kagwe. Wizara ya ICT na uchumi dijitali akamtoa Daktari Margaret Nyambura akamweka William Kabogo. The latest one, bodi ya KICC, Irungu Nyakera alichomolewa jana na ni kama amekuwa replaced na jamaa anaitwa Samuel Waweru Mwangi, wote wa mlimani. So the president very careful on the same week that he's gone to the mountain. Hata kifuta huko anawarudishia, anaambia si bado tu nieni. Msikasirike sana.
Very well. Lucky Abi.
Pale chini vidokezo zaidi, wanasiasa wachafua mlo wa walimu, vyama vikilalimika upendeleo. Yes, we just talked about that story where now it is MPs who are closer to State House who are employing teachers. Waomba EACC fuatilie msikiti ulionyakuliwa. Jamii ya Waislamu imealika EACC kuchunguza madai ya unyakuzi wa msikiti wa kihistoria. Habari yenyewe kwenye ukurasa wa 5. Pale juu, jopo la IEBC laongezewa siku 14 zaidi. And this is despite some of the controversies raised by some of the opposition parties. Jopo hilo chini ya Nelson Makanda litafanya uteuzi kufikia Mei 12. No, walikuwa wamesema ni kama Aprili tarehe 14 hivi watakuwa tayari na IEBC. Tangoja mwezi mwingine. Na Chelsea tayari kwa Tottenham. The Blues wana rekodi nzuri nyumbani dhidi ya Spurs. Lakini timu kubwa Arsenal, Bukayo Saka alirejea. Alifinya mabao Bao moja. Fulham.
Taifa Leo, Daily Nation, I'm king of the mountain. Head of state seeking to win back support of populous region that swept him to power in 2022 poll race. Bare knuckles. President William Ruto says he does not need any political broker to ascend the slippery but vote-rich Mount Kenya region, brushing off the acrimonious falling out with his former deputy Rigathi Gachagua as inconsequential in his decades-long ties and friendship with local residents. Mr. Gachagua has previously declared himself the region's political kingpin and vowed to make his former boss a one-term president. I do not need political brokers to ascend the slippery but vote-rich Mount Kenya. That is according to President William Ruto. Amesema atawafanyia kazi and he will not sleep.
Anasema he will not allow anyone to come between him and his people from the mountain.
Yes.
Wamekuwa marafiki miaka mingi. 20 years plus.
Fury over TSC employment letters dished out to politicians, the same story. And Muranga MP Betty Njeri Maina's revelation that MPs allied to the government were recently handed Teachers Service Commission employment letters to give to their constituents has kicked up a storm over irregular hiring. Other stories here. Trump's in-law tours Kenya, Great Lakes with eyes on Congo minerals. And Masad Bolu, the new senior advisor for Africa at the United States Department, will be visiting Kenya and the Great Lakes region starting this week.
Unaona tumesoma hiyo habari kwa gazeti ya Uganda. Sema kuna watu wanatoka Amerika wanakuja kuongea na Museveni sababu kuna vita DRC. Lakini Kenya unaambiwa they having eyes on the Congo minerals, not the crisis in Congo.
DRC.
Ni minerals wanaangalia. Ukweli wa mambo.
Other stories here. MPs extend IEBC selection panel's term by 2 weeks. We've talked about that. It was to be on April 14, thereabout, and May 12. Yes, Daily Nation.
Who'll blink first? That's a big headline on the Standard. This is a sacking saga between President William Ruto and his former CS for Public Service, Justin Muturi. Former CS Justin Muturi has taken on President William Ruto, accusing him of refusing to address abductions in cabinet and instead kicking him out for demanding answers. Muturi, who remained unbowed, placed the kidnappings at Ruto's doorstep, saying he will not be silenced. He claimed Ruto lied after the president said Muturi sacked himself when he absconded cabinet meetings. Na hizi accusations huyu jamaa kusema rais anasema uongo. Unajua zimekuwa mingi sana sasa.
Anafinya sana.
Kila mahali, kila wakati mnasema huyu jamaa ni kama asemi ukweli. Kila wakati hawa ni masemi ukweli. Hiyo ndo habari. More on that story, I think, on page 5 of this paper. Other stories, looming battle over IEBC jobs. Now the push and pull because ODM yesterday responded to Wiper Party and the other parties that complained about a lopsided selection of IEBC commissioners. ODM wakakuja wakasema So now Kalonzo Musyoka is threatening to go to court should the appointments be done, but ODM is having none of that. The story is on page 4. What will happen? Now the selection panel has been given 2 weeks more. Meanwhile, people are saying they're going to court and stop the appointments. That's ni kama tutakaa bila IEBC.
Drama ni mingi.
Drama ndio mingi. Court lifts lead on complex web of city land cartels. Hiyo story iko pages 8 and 9. Pale nyuma tuangalie sport. Yes. Bukayo Saka. Or the back pages of the Standard. Arsenal's Bukayo Saka celebrates after scoring the team's second goal against Fulham at the Emirates Stadium on Wednesday. It was his very first game after a very long period of injury. He got injured, I think, in November. And he has been out till now. He comes back on and he scores a winning goal. Who else can do that?
Ule Mluya yuko leo.
Bukayo Saka. More injury woes for Arsenal as returning Saka hits winner. That's a Standard.
All right, next, the Star. Nothing for projects as a pay gobbles up billions. And this is according to Controller of Budget, Margaret Nyakango. She says how salaries gobble up billions in counties as development suffers. Erratic hiring, irregular engagement of casual workers, ghost workers, and excessive compensation of county workers are siphoning bills from counties as development suffers. A new report by Parliament has revealed how the counties have become employment bureaus, spending huge amounts of revenues to compensate employees, and some of them who may not be properly hired or who may be ghosts.
Yeah. They're saying that about 16 counties are using half, over 50% of their revenues to pay salaries only.
Only.
Yes.
Only 11 counties comply with 35% wage bill ceiling.
A majority don't. Exactly. They're just employment bureaus. How will they become development units?
Manslaughter, body by design owners remanded. This story hit the headlines last year when a lady died while doing some procedures.
Yeah, the story is also on page 3 of the Standard. And this has been a long time coming. It's one of those very interesting stories. A plastic and cosmetic surgery clinic officials were yesterday charged before Kibera Law Court of an alleged botched surgery that led to the death of businesswoman Lucy Wambui Kamau. Yes, a story on the front page of the Star.
Okay.
On the side pages of the Standard.
The owners have been remanded. This was yesterday. And that's the Star, fresh, independent, different. On the top strip before tuendelea wanasema Ruto lays ground to reclaim Mount Kenya. Leo ako Murang'a na Kinangop. Yes.
Matters business, 14 banks defy CBK order to reduce cost of loans. Some regulators filing show only 5 had slashed rates by February. 19 reduced their rates by a narrower margin. And they have a list of the banks there and how much they cut their margins. Citibank, I think, cut the most at 5.69%. Kingdom Bank, wamekata kitu kidogo sana, negligible. Bank yako iko hapo. Only 5 of Kenya's 38 banks had cut lending rates to match the reduction of the benchmark rate by the Central Bank of Kenya at the end of February amid threats of daily fines. So ambia Central Bank, hiyo kitu mnasema, nyinyi ndio mfanye. Why Treasury retracted comment on China debt restructuring. There's another story there on the front page of the Business Daily. On the ticker, manufacturers save 688 million shillings in power bills by off-peak production. Wanafanya kazi usiku. Oil firms lose stocks in 2.1 billion shilling KPC debt trial. Centum cuts stake in CDN after 1.9 billion rights issue, and Treasury nets 71 billion from April bond sale. Ai, nimesema bilioni mingi. Bilioni ni nyingi. Kumbuke kule Tanzania lita moja ya petroli ni shilingi 3,026.
Some cents.
Lita moja. Ukiwa na 10,000 unaweka lita 3 ya mafuta.
10,000 ya Kenya.
10,000 ya Tanzania.
All right. Those are the local dailies today.
And these are the gentlemen who will be in studio. Let me put this here. These are gentlemen who will be in studio this morning. Wilson Sosion, a former SGK and UT and former MP, alongside Dr. Peter Mbai, leadership and governance expert.